Hey, everybody. Spencer Hawes here with NichePursuits.com, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Niche Pursuits News. I've got Jared Bauman with me. Jared, how you doing?
Great. Good to be here, Spencer. Excited to talk about the news this week with you.
Yep. Always fun to sit down and reflect on what's going on in the industry, what news is happening. There's always some news. And so we've got a few items that we'll go over here, of course, in the news. It has been happening over the last month or so. AI seems to be the central focus of everything, and that's no change today. Just some new developments with artificial intelligence, how it applies to content marketers, bloggers, niche site creators. So we're gonna touch on that, and then we have our two additional segments that we'll do here, where we talk about our side projects, our shiny object shenanigans. I've actually got a new idea that I'm going to kind of pitch to you, kind of throw your way, and maybe we can bounce the idea off each other. And maybe listeners will chime in and let me know if I should go ahead with this idea or not. And then finally, we have a couple of weird niche sites that we will review and reveal and share with everybody, to give a little inspiration, maybe a little bit of fun at the end. So should we do it? Should we jump into it?
Let's dive in. Let's get to it. Before we jump into the podcast, I wanted to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
This is how we landed massive links for our client in The Sun, a DR90 website, and many other UK news websites. We have used freely available data from YouGov to simply find out what the nation's favorite car brand is and which brands people love the most. Of course, Rolls-Royce came out on top, Aston Martin second, and Jaguar third. We put these insights in a short email and sent it to journalists that write about cars and to national news desks on behalf of our client. Within a few days, our client got featured in all the Suns, as well as many regional newspaper sites in the UK, gaining DR90 links to their leasing comparison website. YouGov website is full of unlimited PR stories with data already available for free. All you have to do is to start researching their data and start asking the data questions. You will be surprised of the unlimited PR campaigns that you will find there that can help you build massive exposure and links to your or your clients' websites. I hope this video is helpful and inspirational.
If you want similar link building PR campaigns for your website, head to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them now.
So just today or maybe yesterday, WordPress announced that for their Jetpack plugin, they have a new AI writing tool that's integrated directly into WordPress. Now, why does this matter? Well, first, let me just share this article for those that maybe are watching on YouTube. They can see this article. It says, WordPress now has an OpenAI powered content generator, free access available. So what's going on here? Well, basically, WordPress is a nonprofit organization. It's an open source code base, but the organization WordPress formed a for-profit business, and they own several plugins. One of those being Jetpack, that gives a lot of statistics and other functionality, traffic statistics and things like that for your site. But it looks like they have now basically have a writing assistant that lives directly within WordPress. And so if you're using Gutenberg, and if I can get down to the sort of video here, this is really grainy, but it sort of shows that, hey, you can create a prompt, hit go, and it's going to write it directly for you, and it'll say, okay, rewrite that paragraph so it includes a list of yada yada yada, and I'll put it in bullet point format for you. So why is this cool? Well, one, it's created by the founders of WordPress, right? Jetpack is owned by Matt Mullenweb, and he is the founder of WordPress, and so he's going all in on AI. He sees it, and so they've created an AI writing assistant that lives directly in WordPress, and that's the other big thing is it is in WordPress, makes it super easy and integrated. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I have a lot of as with everything, I have a lot of questions. But from a high level, just looking at this, I mean, this definitely solves some of the problems that ChatGPT has. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm looking for a way to rewrite like an answer target in my blog post, or maybe I'm redoing an introduction. I have found ChatGPT to help with that. Maybe give me some ideas for introduction. I've used them for FAQs. And you gotta like copy and paste, or if you're pulling headers over, it's even worse. And you're trying to tell it to write it in markup. And so this is now, and as you read through the article, it says it's being executed in the block portion of WordPress. And so, I mean, it's right there as you saw in the video. And I think that that's really compelling. Like I said, I have a couple questions I'll ask you, but from the high level, this will make using a ChatGPT style content in your WordPress website significantly faster and easier.
Yeah, absolutely. It removes a lot of that, copying, pasting, and formatting. It's all right there. It isn't free for everyone. It's free if you are on WordPress.com, which is WordPress's free blogging platform. So most of our listeners have their own self-hosted WordPress, so it's not free. I thought it was $20 a month.
It is. There is a free version of the Jetpack plugin that allows for up to 20 free requests.
Yes, right here.
Thereafter, you have to go to the cost of the WordPress content generator plugin is half the price of ChatGPT, $10 per month. That has no limits on requests.
Yeah. So that's actually, gosh, that's perfect, right? If you're paying premium for ChatGPT, well, maybe stop doing that and just pay $10 a month.
So that's my question. Is this getting you ChatGPT 4? Or is it 3 or 3.5? I mean, I assume it's 4 since they kind of reference it's half the price of ChatGPT, which you're paying for ChatGPT 4, right? But it didn't actually explicitly say which one you're getting access to.
It does not say that, but I would assume and hope that it is the latest version of ChatGPT. But great question.
That was one of my questions because I've noticed a big difference in 3.5 and 4. I would prefer to be using 4, and then if I could pay only $10 a month for this, I mean that. Now you can't go to ChatGPT through OpenAI at that point, but you're using ChatGPT in your blog. I mean, it could really be a good cost saving for some people too.
Right, exactly. If that's all you're doing with ChatGPT is blog content, this could be a good solution. I don't know. I mean, I haven't used it, but it looks pretty interesting. If you're using OpenAI for lots of other stuff, maybe keep that. So, but yeah, big announcement. Just kind of cool to see, formally WordPress organization embracing AI content has an AI writing assistant. So that could be a whole podcast episode, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, because I was going to say a few other things are that it will automatically go through the document and correct spelling and grammar. It will create titles and summaries for you. It has tone options. So that's something that if you're not maybe native at prompting and ChatGPT, you can get a tone back and you're like, I don't like this tone, but how do I tell it to give me the tone I want, right? Like you got to kind of figure out how to ask for what you want. But this comes with tone prompts. I'll just read them out loud really quickly while I have them. Formal, informal, optimistic, humorous, serious, skeptical, empathetic, confident, passionate, and provocative. So there's some other things they're doing that aren't just, copy paste. Like it really has a couple features that could be helpful for people who aren't engaging in prompts on ChatGPT right now.
Right. And I could envision this becoming a lot more robust, right? Maybe WordPress or Jetpack, tweaks the prompts or the settings that they have to just make it better and better, give you more tone options or more, writing style or length or whatever, type options for different types of articles. So one to keep your eye on, one that is very interesting for sure. So this second article that we have is from Marie Haynes. Marie Haynes Consulting. She's exploring the SGE, which we have talked about a lot, the search generative experience that Google has. And maybe, Jared, I'll let you tackle this one. But we did just talk about this, or at least SGE, quite a bit last week on the podcast. And she shares some of her findings that if I can find one of her images, maybe I'll click on that and you can maybe tell us what you're seeing here.
Yeah, so we talked, I think pretty much about this exact topic yesterday. Her headliner here was the SGE answers are not necessarily AI generated answers. It is pulling from content that is already available on the internet, that has already been published on the internet, rather than pulling from AI repository system, a language model, like we assumed maybe SGE would pull from with Bard. And we kind of surmised this could happen. Like, why would they have to go to the, why would SGE for all queries, SGE could be used for all queries, only some of them pulling from, say, Bard and AI, with others pulling from content that's already available on the internet. So basically, she saw this live and in the flesh. It was out there in the wild, as it were. So what she said was, let me pull it up here. Basically, Google SGE answers don't appear to all be AI, but rather weaving together pieces of indexed information taken from websites into coherent and helpful responses. And of note, there's no attribution to specific websites used to make this answer, which is gonna make SEOs all bothered about it for sure. But you know, it obviously, and she's clear to say it, and I agree with her. Like, early days with SGE, and so this could develop and morph as they figure that out. But clearly, there's testing going on where they're looking at using Bard and AI answers and stuff from their database and their index that they already have.
Right. And yeah, it kind of, as we pointed out, it's like, okay, is this different than featured snippets? Is this going to be better than regular results that we're already getting? We don't know. I think they're figuring that out. But yeah, the big sticking point here is, gosh, if you're going to pull a quote directly from our website, please give us some attribution, give us a link, send us some traffic.
But you bring up exactly what I was going to say, which is, so this to me feels like, instead, like, it feels like a more advanced, mature version of a feature snippet. Previously and currently, as we exist in Google, a feature snippet is a snippet from one article, and therefore they give attribution to that one article. And I don't want to get too far ahead, but if they are going to weave, as Marie Haynes said, weave multiple answers from multiple articles, do they now feel they're off the hook and don't have to quote any of them because they've actually created their own unique answer by quoting 3 people's answer?
I don't think we should let them off the hook.
I agree. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they think that that's getting them off the hook, that they can now, because they created their own unique answer, air quotes, from 3 other web publishers' answers, that maybe now they don't have to have attribution. I don't know. Obviously, I hope that's not the case, but.
Well, maybe let's move on, since it's not making me any happier talking about it. So.
All right, I'm ruining your afternoon here.
No, not at all. I'm still bullish and positive on the outlook, but you know, I don't like the direction of some of these things. But okay, we've got another tweet. Cyrus, Shepard, he was on the podcast not very long ago, came and gave some great advice on internal linking, on-page SEO, and just a deep dive. If people want to check out that episode, they can do that. He went through and he shared in this tweet 7 categories that don't trigger AI results in the SGE experience. And maybe I'll just read what he says here. Taken together, these searches likely comprise 50 to 70% of all searches and are likely the safest from AI. So very interesting. Very interesting. He tweeted this out about a week ago. But let's see. I guess we could go through and just quickly read off all the categories here, right?
I've got a list here that's truncated if you want me to read it off.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read that off? And if you've got that in front of you, that'd be great. Sure.
Yeah, so number 1 is navigational queries. So that's going to be like when you search a brand name, like let's say you want to go to Target.com, but instead you just search Target, or NASA, I think is the example he used. Recipes. He did say I can get it to do simple things like how to cook broccoli, but more complex recipes. Did not trigger an AI result. Very interesting for you food bloggers out there. There's a lot of concern about that. That's interesting. Not safe for web stuff. NSFW, we'll leave that there. I'm sure you can all figure out what that might be. Some YMYL topics. We talked about this a bit last week. I mean, originally we thought that SGE was not going to cover any of those. Then we saw that it was covering some of them. So Cyrus is kind of sticking with what others have seen, which is some YMYL, some not. Number 5 of the 7 is news and current events. We know a lot of news publishers, so that's very interesting to see. I thought this was very interesting. Number 6 is quick answers, like weather and song lyrics. So I don't know why that would be the case, but we could talk more about that if we wanted, or just leave it there. And then number 7 is sensitive queries. And that can be kind of open to interpretation, but that makes sense. That, some of the topics of the day they don't want to wade into.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Maybe the quick answers, weather, song lyrics, maybe they're already doing a good enough job. They feel like, hey, we just use our existing engine.
Yeah.
They've done quite a bit there to give you quick answers. But so very interesting. Again, it's early days, but Cyrus is a smart guy. If he says that covers 50 to 70% of all search queries, like that's a positive in my book, right? It's like, hey,
I agree with you. He's a smart guy. And when he puts his mind to doing something, boy, I mean, how many URLs did he crawl for that study that we talked about, the internal link study? 18 million or something?
Yeah, some huge number. It was millions, yeah.
It's a lot.
So, all right, very good. So we do have one more sort of AI update, if you will, and just a little bit of commentary, I suppose. Google Bard is continuing to come out with updates, and they publish these updates. They call it their experiment updates because, it's still an experiment. But, less than a week ago, since we recorded our last episode, they came up with, or they added some location settings. And Jared, I know you looked at this or talked about this a little bit, so maybe you can clarify what this update's about.
Yeah, basically, Bard is going to now start incorporating your location on your phone or IP address and incorporating that into local queries, so we're all familiar with maybe like pizza shop near me, or, if it's a local query, like you search like best plumber, they're not going to show you a plumber in New York City when you're in Seattle, Washington. They'll show you a plumber in your area. And so we're still trying to figure out exactly what, what role AI will have in local queries, but it looks like they are localizing where you are for Bard style queries, whatever that ends up meaning.
Yep. Exactly. And then the other updates that just came out today, I just saw the article update, and here it is on the experiment update sheet here, is that one, Bard codes for you for improved math and data analysis. Okay, I'll let people read into that a little bit more, but they've made some updates to make it better at mathematical tasks, coding questions, string manipulation. And then the other one that's kind of cool, I think, I haven't played around with it, but it sounds cool, is that you can export Bard-generated tables to Google Sheets. So now they have an export function directly to Google Sheets, which I could see being extremely useful in a lot of different cases. Because you can get a lot of data. Yeah, so many different queries can produce data, tables of data. It could be lists of things for a listicle article. It could be number data, anything, right? But Google Bard creates the table, automatically exports it to a spreadsheet where you can then do whatever you want, right? Manipulate it or import it into your website, whatever.
I mean, that makes it, again, I feel like a lot of what we talked about today is less in maybe the advancement of the AI, but more in the usability of the AI. Using AI inside of WordPress, going straight to Google Sheets from an AI query. Like, these are things that will make it less clunky of an experience for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. So constant updates, always changing. Maybe we'll leave it there. I mean, it's like ever progressing news that is interesting, I think, for publishers, and maybe there's some ideas there that people can use, whether that's the WordPress AI assistant or exporting data to Google Sheets. That's kind of the news for the week. But beyond that, we've always got our side projects, our businesses that we're trying to operate. And I do have a number of side projects that I'm working on, and I just felt like maybe it was time to add something to that list, I guess.
As if you needed to add more.
Yeah. I will clarify that this is less of a side hustle. This would be for niche pursuits, so it is really for my, one of my core businesses. It's not something that's totally unrelated, like a, Amazon influencer, a faceless YouTube channel. But what I'm thinking of doing, and I haven't done this yet, is trying to figure out a way to grow my YouTube channel while still being extremely helpful, educational, and hopefully having a lot of fun doing it. And so this is the idea that I came up with. Jared, I'd love your thoughts. Listeners, I'd love your thoughts. Basically, I tweeted this idea out, shared it on social media, was basically, hey, what if I got 2 or 3 people to compete against each other to try and start a small online business within 30 days? And the contestant, quote unquote, that had the most traction, made the most revenue, earned a little bit of prize money. I don't know how much that is, but I would maybe give them a little bit of money and make it fun. But condense this whole sort of month-long journey of going from idea to launching to making the first $1 or $100 or whatever it is in 30 days, condensing it down into one just really fun experiential video that's 15 minutes long or something like that. And along the way, it would not be me creating the side hustles. I would be more of an advisor and sort of referee, if you will, right? Host of the show. I would, maybe do calls with them once a week. Hey, how's your little idea coming along? Here's what I would do. And, I would document all of that and hopefully make it a very involved, well-produced video. So that's sort of the idea. What do you think, Jared?
I think it's a good idea. I think it would do well. And I think I have some data for you that would suggest it would do well, so you don't even have to go by my opinion.
I like that. Data's good. What do you got?
Yeah. And I was not prepared for this, by the way. So you just
are a data nerd. You have data at your fingertips.
So shameless plug, I just hit 100 episodes as the host of the podcast. Little aside. And I realized it a bit last minute, and it got me thinking about, man, I wonder what some of the most popular episodes of the podcast were. So I just went over to the Niche Pursuits YouTube channel and you can sort by latest, which is how it defaults, and I hit most popular. It's interesting to see. What I noticed is that some of the top YouTube videos on the Niche Pursuits channel are back from, I believe it was Niche Site Project 3, where you had multiple people building niche sites, and you documented their journey with multiple coaches and their progress.
You are right.
I don't know how many years ago that was. But
many.
5, 6, 7?
7, 8?
7, 8.
2015?
Let's try to be generous.
Maybe.
But they were very watched in terms of YouTube, and they were even more rooted. I mean, if you went back, you'd probably be embarrassed by like the quality, and like from a YouTube standpoint, they're not at all what we would expect out of YouTube today, but they were very popular to watch people engage in the Niche Pursuits brand, but seeing kind of people get coached along and starting a website and all the little steps that would go into it. And that was focused on a website. This is a little bit different, but I think you have very limited amount of data to suggest that actually people would be very interested in that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that exactly in terms of the videos. I have some experience, of course, doing similar projects. That was Niche Site Project 3. It was very popular, very well followed. What is fascinating that you pointed out that I didn't realize is that those are some of the most watched YouTube videos, which I knew, but what's fascinating is that those videos were never created for YouTube.
No.
Like when I created them, YouTube was just the hosting platform, and I would publish them on my website, and I'd blog about it and embed it in my website. That's where all the views were coming from, I thought. Maybe I've always had this, half my audience on YouTube I just never tailored to. So yeah, that's some good data, some good points about, hey, if I actually put the effort into making a great video and making it a great experience, it could do really, really well. And part of it, I think it would be a lot of fun for me, not only to like help people, hey, let's encourage you, keep you motivated, launch a website, launch an online business, whatever it is. But it would allow me to express some of my creative side as well, sort of putting together, how do you edit all this together in a well put together story? I mean, you're telling us a month-long story of 2 to 3 people building a business, like there's a lot going on to fit in like 15 minutes.
And it would, obviously there's so much, I'm thinking like Amazing Race style
Yeah.
drama, Survivor style drama. Like you could actually, leverage some tactics that create interest, intrigue, and entertainment that people love on YouTube. I think back to our interview, again, we've referenced it many times, but with Pat Flynn, and about all the little things he does to his YouTube videos that make them super intriguing and watchable, and creating hooks and building intrigue and having, change of pace and having misdirection and all these different things.
Yeah. And, I think this would allow, this would sort of feed my shiny object syndrome in a way through other people, right? I'd like be able to watch and have the inside scoop. I could probably have, maybe a couple of these going on every month. I don't know.
So would I, is it just screen share videos you're going to put together and then you'll do like a voiceover, you think? Or am I going to if I'm one of the contestants, am I kind of videoing myself here?
Yes.
Or, okay, I'm 6 a.m. I'm really cranking away, Spencer.
Yes, I would require a first-person video of the contestants. I would require them to film themselves, so we'd get a lot of great shots. There might be, a little bit of screen shares, on a Zoom call when we chat or something. But yeah, it would be hopefully lots of different locations, shots, interactive, I guess, or fast paced.
Okay, so I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's far more intriguing than. I'm always amazed at how many people watch our podcast interviews on YouTube when it's just two floating heads for an hour. It doesn't seem very engaging to me.
Exactly. But it could also lead to a lot of follow-up videos, right? If they built an Amazon influencer business, we're showing a lot in 15 minutes, but I could then bring on the person and we could do a 30-minute tutorial, video, couple of follow-ups, right?
Yep.
Something like that. So anyways, that's the idea. I'm, I've got the whiteboard filled out over here with ideas, and I posted a couple of things on Facebook and Twitter asking for ideas. So I think I'm moving forward with it. So we'll see what happens over the next week if I take another step forward. So we'll keep everybody posted.
Sounds good. Exciting. I wanted to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
In this video, I will show you how we landed a placement on BBC and dozens of links in massive regional online publications such as Where's Online, Daily Post, and many more. This PR campaign was about the easiest place to pass your driving test for the first time in the UK. This is how we've done it. We simply went to DVLA website, found the latest car driving test data by test center, and downloaded the data in a CSV format. Once we had the data, all we had to do is to look at the number of total tests per test center, then look at the number of first time passes to calculate the percentage of people who passed their test for the first time. Once we had the percentage numbers, we created a press release with our findings. Then we went to Roxhill and found journalists who talk about driving tests, and also looked for journalists who write in regional publications in the UK. In total, we have found about 1,800 journalists and sent them our press release by email. Within less than a day, our story got picked up by BBC, Cornwall Live, Wales Online, and dozens of other publications in the UK, providing our client a tsunami of backlinks perfectly relevant to the audience of the client, who is a specialist in learner driver car insurance. I hope this video is helpful and it shows you how you can also build links with freely available data from official sources.
If you want similar link building PR campaigns for your website, head to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them now.
All right, what are you working on this week?
Oh boy, okay, let's see. Okay, well, Amazon Influencer, you want to talk about that?
Yes, always.
So where were we last week? I think we'd gotten 100 articles live. Man, I'm such a blogger.
Videos.
100 videos live. And we had just started earning some money, probably $3 or $6 or something like that, right?
$9 maybe. I don't remember. Yeah.
So let's see. We're recording this we'll call it a Wednesday afternoon here. So sorry, it's a little early this week, but recording this on Wednesday afternoon. So Monday we made $34.
What?
And yesterday we made $46.
Are you serious?
So it is growing quickly.
Wow. You're
think
up to
that's-
my earnings level.
Day nine of monetization, and we're at $46 a day.
Wow. That
Day
is
10. Maybe it's day 10. It's like day 9 or day 10. Now, we didn't get 100 videos live this week. Technically, it's only been 6 days since we last recorded. But not 7, but 6. But we have, I'm looking right here. I got my numbers here. Let's see. So we have 149 videos live now, with 17 uploading, I guess, as we speak. So that'll bring us to 166 videos 2 weeks in, basically.
You are so awesome. You're making me look bad, though.
Have we caught up? Because you said you were at, 160 last week?
I think I said 160, and I went back and looked. It was actually like 136. I may have flip-flopped the numbers.
Have we passed you now?
And I got maybe 5 or 6 more uploaded, but you're past me now. Yeah. Making me look bad, and here I am outsourcing it. Oh man.
So I mean, yeah, it's it's interesting. I'll say that. Like, such early days. I mean, first off, don't know if that $46 mark is going to continue. It could have been
a couple good days. Who knows?
We don't know much about this program in general, so hard to expand on that. I don't know how long it takes videos to index. I don't know if we should expect videos that we published a week ago that don't have any views to get views down the road, or if things get bounced around.
Typically,
so really early days.
It takes a week-ish plus to get them kind of in there and start getting views, is what I've noticed. So that should ramp up. Is what I would think with all the new videos.
That'd be great. So I am getting to the bottom of the list here at the house in terms of stuff that I can make videos on. It's a shame. I feel like I have a good process, but so we'll get through all the stuff in our house, and then Caitlin's doing the same, and then we'll kind of circle the wagons and figure out what's
go to
next.
Grandpa's house. And,
yep.
Record everything there.
I did text my neighbor because I was down there over the weekend, and they have a really nice espresso machine, and I thought. So I texted my neighbor actually this morning. I was like, "Hey, can I come down and maybe make a cup like a latte tomorrow and film myself doing it?" And she's like, "Yeah, why would you want to do that?" Like, no, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna make a couple bucks on Amazon.
So it kind of gets your head going. You're a little bit in terms of like what you can cherry pick elsewhere and stuff. So that's the influencer program. It is definitely still a very shiny object. Just but it's I'll just say this. It's such the opposite experience of building a website where you really dig in for 6 to 9 to 12 months of no feedback loop, no adrenaline rush, no dopamine hit. And it's just such the opposite to publish a bunch and then have that dopamine hit come so quickly. It throws you off when you're so used to the opposite in terms of website creation and SEO and these kinds of things.
I love it, man. It's so true, everything that you said. I think this is evidence that if somebody really just wants to hustle their way to $1,000 a month or something, man, this is just a great route. I mean, yeah, you're working with somebody to get your 160 or whatever videos right now, but still within a matter of a few weeks.
I mean, 10 days in, it's on pace to earn, what is that, $1,300 a month?
Yeah. So it's fantastic. So, if people got 2-3 hours a day, they could just hustle. And you can go to your neighbors, you can go to your parents, your friends. You go through 5 or 6 houses worth of stuff, and you got hundreds of items, I'm sure.
And I think that's the right strategy for someone, because I've tried both. I slogged away on a Friday and did a lot of videos. I think that was 2 weeks ago. That was the big push to that first 100, and I think I did 33 in a day or something like that, like 5-6 hours of recording. And then I've also done just like 8 in a day. And that takes, with uploading and everything, that probably takes an hour to an hour and a half for me. And I think that's a much more achievable pace. Like if you have a day that clears out and you got some time away, sure, do 2-3 hours. But I think if you could do 5 to 10 a day, which is probably for most people anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half a day, like that's a very reasonable target. And then you're at 100 in 10 to 20 days. You're at 200 videos in 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, that's very reasonable.
Yeah, Absolutely. I'm almost thinking that a way to kick off my YouTube video series is maybe we dramatize what's happening here with you and I on our Amazon influencer. Pretend like it's happening live, maybe, but you're gonna beat me out. I can tell you that much. You're pretty much there. You're earning about what I am already, and I'm worried next week you're gonna be way past me.
So I wonder if there's a velocity component here.
Could be.
None of us really know. Like, is there an advantage to publishing a ton at once rather than dripping it?
Yeah.
I mean, their algorithm, no one knows what's going on with how they figure out what videos to put where. And
yeah,
half the time I earn something and it'll say where what video you use to earn. And so I'll go to the Amazon listing and try to see the video and how it's not there. And this is all just the wild, wild west in my opinion. So
pretty much. Good. Very good update. I
did
love
tease
that it's going well.
I did tease last week about a summertime project on YouTube with my wife. We talked a bunch more this weekend about it. We did some research. So again, to borrow a Spencer term, we did spend some time on, I think, Sunday night going through doppelganger research. So trying to find other YouTube channels that are doing it in a similar fashion, but that are not really established or competitive, trying to find those kind of unicorns that are succeeding on YouTube in this kind of sub niche, but that don't necessarily have a lot of subscribers, followers, videos, that kind of stuff. So we did some doppelganger research, got a lot of good insights from that. So it's moving along. It probably go a little bit slower pace than the influencer program, just to be clear, but we're taking good steps forward in that. I hope to have like a real solid update, maybe next week or the week after, like we've set up the account or something like that. That's the goal.
Cool, man. I love it. That's good. So let's jump into our final segment here, our weird niche sites. So each of us have done our job here. We've found one weird niche site each. So we'll review these, let people check them out, let us know what they think, and see if they like them. I'll be honest here, Jared. I saw your site, but I didn't look at it, so I'm coming in fresh.
Well,
so I'm going to share my screen now.
It looks a lot more, we'll say, risque or sketchy if you just look at the URL.
Right. bestlovetextmessages.com. Okay.
Probably going to throw everyone off. If you just hear that and have to go, you'll probably be wondering what in the heck we're talking about for the next 5 or 10 minutes here on the podcast. So yeah, the website is bestlovetextmessages.com. Bit of a mouthful. And I'm pretty sure when they started this website, they really were focused just on the concept of finding the best text messages to convey love to send to people, because this is really all about prompts that you can use to send people. And it has clearly expanded over the years. It, according to Ahrefs, now has 777 pages and expanded into a whole variety of message-related things you can send. And so, if you kind of peruse through the website, you can see like 10 prayers for Mother's Day, different thank you quotes for community helpers, and captions for Instagram. But I think the root of it is certainly rooted in this idea of messages you send to people, and it's mainly all listicle style. So it is a out-of-the-box generate press theme with 0 modifications done to it. It is loaded up with ezoic ads. They got the video ads, the sidebar ads, the footer banner ads, the in-content ads.
It's all there.
It's all there. They got a whole, if you want to see every ad unit that Ezoic offers, this is a good spot to look.
Here's a good, just take a look at your screen right now.
That's got to be every one of them. Just a couple stats for you. It has 128,000 keywords, all right? DR11, 128,000 keywords. It was at almost 300,000 organic page views per month, according to Ahrefs, until the helpful content update came along. It did knock this one back quite a bit, because I would argue that this is not a very helpful website. The articles, while they do have content, they're in a terrible format. Ads are overwhelming. I don't think I saw one image in the articles. No internal linking. This site, though, was out of left field. I mean, it's ranking, till this day, #1 for the keyword 7 years of togetherness and still counting. Search volume of 200 if you're wondering.
Okay, that's an odd keyword, I would suppose. But yeah, just looking at the Ahrefs graph, right? It's got this huge spike. Looks like it did well for a while, but yeah, it's come back down to reality. But it's, it's still, it's probably getting 100,000 visitors a month plus.
I mean, this site, if you just go to it, you wouldn't think 100,000 visitors.
No.
And at 100,000 visitors, and let's say that it's not getting monetized, like it's not getting high RPMs from Ezoic, but even 100,000 visitors at a $10 RPM is $1,000 a month from this.
So with a website like this, I mean, you have to imagine they're just copying these quotes from some other article or something, right? And just compiling them all into a listicle. So it's probably not very much original content. But this could be accelerated a great deal with AI tools now, right? Like just ask the AI to write you a list of 10 loving messages to your, fill in the blank, right? Wife, husband, daughter, uncle, whatever. I'm not saying somebody should do that, but it would be a lot easier to replicate this website even nowadays than it was. But on the other hand, the devil's advocate here is maybe you don't want to do that because maybe people aren't going to be searching these types of keywords as much. They're going to just be using their AI tool in the future.
I mean,
to get their
I'm
own,
not sure I'd start this site nowadays, but if I had this site, I think that there's a lot you could do with it to both expand on it and improve it. And as we always talk about, like I do think of some great monetization things that are being left on the table. I mean, if I'm looking at the keywords they rank for: birthday wishes for supportive person, thank you for gracing the occasion with your presence. They rank number 1. Think no one searches for that? 150 searches a month. 12 years of togetherness. They rank number 2. That's 400 searches a month. These things have search volume, and typically when people are searching these things, they're looking for cards and gifts and these types of things to send out. Certainly some of them are. I'm not saying all of those are buyer-related keywords or searches, but you think that there'd be a good ad play here, or a good monetization play for some affiliate offers for some products to send out on a 12-year anniversary, or a birthday card for a loving friend, or et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's just always a good idea to build an email list, right? If you got a bunch of traffic and you can get people on an email list, even if you're just sending them right back to your website with a weekly newsletter or twice a week newsletter, that's better than trying to get new traffic every single day. So I agree.
And again,
it can be monetized quite a bit better.
Who knows if the reason they lost so much traffic in that what looked like the helpful content update based on the timing of the drop, who knows if that was related to just being such a poor user experience between stock generate press theme, no images, no internal links, overwhelming number of ads. Like, I wonder if the site would rebound at least to some degree in terms of traffic if somebody just went in and actually cared about the user experience a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's totally feasible, totally plausible. All right, very good. Great site.
It wasn't as weird as the URL implied, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like they tried to keyword stuff that URL real good.
You were a little nervous clicking and opening that up live on the podcast.
Like, what's Jared doing this time? All right. No, it's pretty PG. I think we're okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now I have one that I don't know what triggered this memory. But there is a game that I used to play like 10 years ago. And I don't know if you've ever played this game either. But the website itself is, I believe I'm saying it right, Foddy.net. So it's Bennett Foddy is the person. He creates a bunch of games, a bunch of, web-based games. And the one that I used to always play, I shouldn't say always, but I have played in the past, and I can see that the year is 2010.
Oh boy!
I didn't notice that before, but it's in the URL, October 2010. The game is QWOP, which is QWOP. Have you played this before, Jared?
I have not. No.
What?
You
haven't lived. You haven't lived.
This looks like my type of game, to be clear. So
Yeah, so
I haven't.
It's been a long time, but all you do is you use your keyboard to control his calves and his thighs here.
Is this a marathon runner's game?
Is it not going to let me play? Let's see here. Oh, maybe I'm not actually on the game yet. How do I get to the game? I was going to play it online for free. Here we go. So you try to make this runner run.
That wasn't very good.
Which that was not very good. And
if you're watching on the YouTube, you're watching Spencer fail dramatically. That's not good.
Oh, now I'm going to make him go backwards. Anyways, I can't make him go forward. So this is just a ridiculous Flash-based game that got really popular back in the day. I think if the guy just falls forward, I'll get further. There, I think I set a record. 0.8 meters. Okay, I'll play this for a couple hours after the podcast. But if we look at Ahrefs, let me share my screen on this. We can see that back in the day, I mean, this only goes back to 2015. It may have actually been quite a bit more popular in 2010, 2011. But for a while, it was getting 300,000, as much as almost 1 million visitors a month from organic traffic back in 2017, right? And it's slowly petered out, right? But it's still almost 50,000 organic visitors a month. And I think that the QWOP game is the most popular one, but there's several other games on the website as well. And I think I looked at this on SimilarWeb, and the website as a whole was getting like 150,000 visitors a month. I don't know if he's still posting games. I guess if I look in his sidebar, it looks like he, in 2020 he posted one. I'm not sure if this is a new one in 2023, maybe.
I don't know if you noticed, Spencer, if you scroll down, they have QWOP for iOS now.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Yeah, for iPhone. So you could play that on your iPhone.
I just might do that. I really embarrassed myself here in front of the audience. Maybe next week I'll practice and see if I can make it 100 yards. I think that's the goal, is you try to make it 100 yards. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's got display ads all over the website, and so probably making, I don't know, $1,000, $1,500, maybe a little more, a couple $1,000 a month.
He has a newsletter. I see at the bottom. It says, "I'll only ever email you if I release a new game."
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, what this feels right for out of the gate is one of these kind of Patreon plays. One of these, hey, like I'm just a guy who's making cool games. I'm not trying, just reading that newsletter line and seeing this. Like, he's not trying to, make a big run at selling his games for $5 each or something like that. But I do think people like that get supported in a Patreon type environment or similar type environment by the community. People throw a couple bucks a month at it and ask them to make a game a year and feel very happy to be a part of the process. I don't know.
Yeah, and he is followed quite a bit. I just went to his Twitter following, and he has over 102,000 followers.
Yeah, he's got a lot of supporters.
And his very first, thing that he calls is he is the designer of QWOP.
I think that's the game.
The game QWOP. So, Jared, you definitely need to play it if you haven't played it. Audience needs to check it out. Play it, waste a few hours. I'm going to get better. I'm going to try to make it 100 yards. So we'll see if I can do that, by next time.
Currently, the goal I have is to get more than 0.8 meters. Which is where you're currently landing at.
Shouldn't take too long.
That's interesting. So, I mean, with the website that's been around that long, clearly, if you wanted to have a change of heart about that website, there's a lot you could probably do with it if you really wanted to completely go all in on a site and a brand like that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the DR. It's a DR 64.
I mean, with that age and that DR, that he's probably has social traction coming to the website, given his Twitter following and given the cult classic that it was in your life and many others, I'm sure. So I don't know. It probably is a brand worth it would be a brand worth investing in.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of search traffic for other random Flash games. It could be either a repository of Flash games or a review, or there could be a lot of content related to all these that his website would be well positioned to rank well for. So
I'm going to guess he had, it was a bad day in the Bennett Foddy house the day Adobe announced they were sunsetting Flash.
I'm sure it was a sad day.
Sad,
But QWOP lives on, it looks like. Fortunately, he made it work, so we can all enjoy it. But all right, so there's your couple of weird niche sites for everybody listening. Hopefully you enjoyed those. A blast from the past, certainly on one of those. And overall, great episode, I think. We covered the news, we covered our side hustles, we covered the weird niche sites. I think we covered it all. So Jared, any final thoughts, any closing remarks that you have?
I think I'm going to tease this podcast before we release it on Twitter and the like with that weird niche URL about buying love text messages.
Yeah.
See if we can increase the drama. No, it was a good episode, and I mean, it's just always everything's changing in this every week. The news alone is worth paying attention to. I'm glad to do these because it forces me to pay a lot of attention to the news. But I mean, there's so much going on. It's just good to be doing these and talking about what's happening in the changing landscape right now.
Yep, it's been good to chat, Jared, and thank you everybody for listening, and hope you all have a great weekend.
See ya. Today's episode is sponsored by Search Intelligence. Here's a short clip of Ferry from Search Intelligence showing you how their agency built digital PR links to a client's website.
What a masterpiece PR link building campaign. With 20 links in big publications such as The Sun, Express, Mirror, Wales Online, and still landing, I would say this campaign is a massive success. We told the press that people should turn on their heating this summer if they want to save money next winter. And we landed over 20 links in national and regional UK publications for our boiler client. That's crazy. The campaign hook was pretty clever. It is a known fact, at least in the boiler trade, that if you keep your boiler off for many months, it might rust and it might get you into trouble if you keep it turned off from spring to next winter. We therefore advise the press, with an expert commentary piece, on behalf of our boiler client, that people should turn on their boilers this summer just when the heat wave is in full swing. This way they can avoid a boiler failure next winter and save money. Massive publications picked up our story, including The Sun, Express, Mirror, Wales Online, and a few more dozen publications, giving our client links, lots of links, and lots of happiness hormones. No wonder that so many journalists covered our story, as this headline is a massive link magnet to their audience. This case study highlights the fact that a clever hook can be applied to any insight or story to make a campaign more successful and more compelling to journalists. Can you imagine when people see this headline in the news, "You should turn on your boiler this summer"? There's no way they would not click on it. I would click on it. So this was the hook, and this is why this campaign was so successful. I hope this video inspires and shows you what's possible with a clever hook.
If you want similar link building PR campaigns for your website, head to search-intelligence.co.uk and get in touch with them now.